All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the It Is What It Is podcast. Before we get into the dope content that I have stored up for you guys, I just wanted to start off the show with a PSA. As we all know, Takeoff, whose real name is Kersnick Kyrie Ball, was fatally shot and killed on Tuesday, November 1st, in Houston. And I just want to say, I'm not saying that anybody from his side is going to listen to this, but I did not want this episode to begin without sending condolences to his friends, his family, and loved ones. Died at the young age of 28, and it's just I'm at a loss for words. I feel like as a black man, it just seems like we just can't seem to live long, healthy lives. And the tragedy of it all is that we may know him as Takeoff, but to his loved ones, he's Kersnick. And that was somebody's son. That was somebody's cousin. That was somebody's brother. That was somebody's lover. I don't know if he had kids, but could have potentially been somebody's father. So I just want us to understand that us as black men, that we matter, you matter, and your fellow brothers matter. And for us to just, even in times of conflict and misunderstanding, just continue to love on one another, even when we disagree, so that way these tragedies can stop. So, like I said, I did not want this episode to begin without addressing that. Our hearts and our prayers go out to Takeoff's family. So I hope you all enjoy this episode. All right, everybody, it's your boy Jared back at it again with another episode of It Is What It Is with Jared Smith. If you don't remember, as you should, we have partnered with the Playmakers podcast network. Shout out to our guy Reg. So we're just very, very excited to continue to bring this dope content with this dope production, and we are back at it again with the second episode. So I don't know if you guys notice anything different with me from the first episode to this episode. Just take a second. Y'all see it? Y'all see it? So shout out to my barber, Sheedy Sharp, for getting me right before this episode. If anybody knows what I looked like between the last episode and this episode, I was hurting. So if anybody needs the best barber in the Philly, his Instagram is listed below. Thank you so much for the hookup today. And I think that's why my confidence is on 1,000,000 right now, because I got the freshie. So, Reg, there's so much to talk about, but so little time. You gonna bear with me tonight, bro? All right, cool. So I just want to go through a brief rundown of some of the craziness that happened over the course of the week. I don't know what it is about the week of Halloween. It just always seems to be some wild stuff going on. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, we're not talking about anything Kanye related like that. There's enough of that going on. But I think the first thing I really want to talk about is the whole, I forgot what the guy's name was that Diddy got in a fight with on Halloween. From Power, yeah. He played 2-Bit's character. So my thing is what made it so funny was the fact that Diddy thought that the guy knew who he was. But before we get to that, I'm going to tell you what my favorite part was. My favorite part was how Diddy went from being in character of the Joker to then switching right into Diddy mode. Like, I don't know what the way he went from Joker to, where's Diddy from? Is he from Harlem? Okay, whatever it is, he went from that transition from Joker to Diddy was hilarious. So that actually inspired this. He's from Harlem. Okay, 2 points for Jared. Put 2 points on the scoreboard for me, Reg. So this actually inspired this next bit because honestly, between me saying that Kanye was the Joker last week and between seeing Diddy dressed up as the Joker this past week, I wanted to do something a little special. Okay. If anybody knows, I'm a huge DC and even bigger Batman nerd. And for those that want to have this honest conversation, DC has been better than Marvel and will forever be better than Marvel, but we'll save that for another conversation. So the bit that I want to go into next is who certain celebrities and controversial figures relate to. Let me find the right word to say. I want to go through a list of celebrities and controversial figures that remind me of certain DC villains. Okay. So like last week, we said Kanye, of course, the Joker, doesn't really care about anything other than just creating chaos. But then that actually inspired. Let me pull my phone out. Where's my phone at? You see my phone, Reg? Where's my phone at? No. That's the work phone. I do not want to see that. Oh, that's what fell. You guys, bear with me a second. So I want to go, and I put a lot of thought into this. I put like a whole lot of thought into this. And if you guys agree, you guys are on the right side of history. And if you don't, get with the program. So here are the celebrities and controversial figures as Batman villains. So first we have Kanye as a Joker. Doesn't really care about anything except chaos and being the center of attention. Speaking of Diddy, I don't have Diddy as the Joker. Diddy to me is Ra's al Ghul. Now, if anybody doesn't know who Ra's al Ghul is, he's not only the person that trained Batman. We'll talk about that later. But he is actually somewhat immortal. So pretty much the reason why Ra's al Ghul still stays alive for so long is that he bathes in something called the Lazarus Pit to bring him back to life. But every time he bathes in the Lazarus Pit, he comes back crazier than ever. Here's why that reminds me of Diddy. Diddy has not only been forever relevant since the 90s, but every time he's in the headlines for something, I think the headlines get crazier and crazier. For example, one, he just tried to fight 2-Bit from Power, dressed up as a Joker. And then I think a few years ago, didn't he like beat up the football coach of UCLA with a kettlebell or something like that? When his son was playing. So you guys can't tell me he doesn't get crazy and crazy. So Diddy as Ra's al Ghul. Next, Elon Musk as Lex Luthor. Rich, crazy, and even crazy smarter. And honestly, this stuff that he's doing with Twitter, not only is it controversial but villainous, but honestly, Lex Luthor is Elon Musk. And I honestly believe if superheroes were to come about, he would be the guy trying to sabotage them and do whatever. All right, next, so this one was a little bit of a stump. So I was thinking, who would be Harley Quinn? And you know who I have, Reg, as Harley Quinn? Take a guess. Take a guess. No one's going to get it. Take a guess.
I'll just say Nicki Minaj.
That was close. Nicki is on the list, but no. I have Candace Owens as Harley Quinn. So here's the reason why. One, that whole weird partnership with her and Kanye, but she is only as powerful as the black controversial figure she's attached to. There is no Harley Quinn without Joker, and there's no Candace Owens without some against the culture, controversial right-wing black man. So there's that. Next, I have Jada Pinkett Smith as Amanda Waller. If no one knows who Amanda Waller is, I mean, this has nothing to do with the hair thing. You know, shout outs to Jada. But the reason why I have Jada Pinkett as Amanda Waller is that no matter how justified they feel they are within their means of enacting their own sense of justice, they do not care who or what they have to sacrifice to get the job done. Remember the entanglements, everybody? She wanted to feel good with August Alsina. And, she didn't like the joke at the Oscars, so she got her man who ironically played Deadshot, who was ironically in the organization that Amanda Waller had to send out to go kill some people, smack Chris Rock and almost end his career. Yep, that Jada. So, Jada, you're Amanda Waller. Next, I have Kim Kardashian as Enchantress. I don't know what sorcery Enchantress has. Is the same reason as the same, and it's the same level of anonymity that I don't know what magic Kim Kardashian has that she just ruins whatever man she's with. So Kim K, shout outs to Enchantress. Now, I have Kyrie Irving as the Riddler. Now, here's the reason why I have Kyrie Irving as a Riddler. This guy just wants to be deep so bad that I feel that when people pull his card, he starts to throw temper tantrums. Sounds a lot like the Riddler. Like this whole thing he's doing with the Nets. Like, listen, speak your piece, do whatever it is you have to do. But you gotta admit that when people pull your card as to we are all coming to the collective decision that what you're saying is not making any sense, be a man about it. You know what I'm saying? But we'll talk about that later, Reg. We'll talk about that later. So Kyrie, you're the Riddler. If you want to be a little bit more cryptic and a little bit more sophisticated, do it during the postseason, please. Do it during the postseason. New York has suffered enough, okay? Shout outs to Ime Udoka, but we'll talk about that later. Next, I have DJ Academics as the Penguin. Now, the reason why I have DJ Academics as a Penguin, this is not to body shame or anybody, but the figures do look somewhat the same. They're always loud and they're always in the mix, but they're always the first one to tell somebody else's business. That's the Penguin. And also, network of information to be the first one with the scoop of everything that's going on in the street. So shout outs to DJ Academics. Not really. Next, I have Malika Andrews as Sinestro. Now, if no one knows who Sinestro is, that's actually one of the arch enemies of the Green Lantern. So there's different cores within the Green Lantern universe, and Sinestro's a part. I don't know what core it is, but it's yellow. Yellows, anybody that's in the Yellow Lantern cores, their power is fueled by fear and envy. So why is this Malika Andrews? I don't know what it is that she has against black men that are successful that makes her fearful and jealous. But every time a black man in sports has a come up, she's always the first person to hate on it. And she gets stronger and stronger with it. Hence her negative views on Ime Udoka when things first happened. And now with him rumored getting back, connecting with the Nets. And even with the interim coach of the Boston Celtics. Didn't nobody know that Bull had a record until she exposed it. So I don't know what her problem is, but like I said, black men, as long as you continue to succeed in sports, Malika Andrews will be there to try to take your shine. Do not let the Yellow Lantern Corps win. Now we're at Nicki Minaj. So what other DC supervillain do you think Nicki Minaj could be, and it's not Harley Quinn? Take a guess. I have Nicki Minaj as Poison Ivy. Here's why. Her fan base. I don't know what it is she says or does, but she has the craziest fan base ever. And if anybody knows anything about Poison Ivy, she has the ability to hypnotize anybody with her whatever fumes she has. She's even able to do it with She's even able to hypnotize Superman. Do you know how strong your juju got to be to hypnotize Superman? And she has the craziest fans. I forgot who she was beefing with. I think it was actually a fan or something. Someone pulled the fan's address. What kind of influence does anybody have to be like, oh, Nikki, this is where she live? But that's that. Last but not least, I know we haven't talked about this guy in a while, but I have Game on the list. And the reason why Game is on this list is because he used to be one of my favorite rappers. But Game, when it comes to this whole rogues gallery of DC supervillains, bro, you are a man bet. Now, here's the reason why you're a man bet. You were once a genius and a bright individual at your craft, but you became so obsessed with whatever goal you had in mind. I think your goal was to stay relevant, that you became consumed by it, and you became this creature that thirsts for clout. So I don't know Man Bat's real name, but he was just this brilliant scientist that became so obsessed with his research that he eventually became his research and turned into Man Bat. So Game, get it together. So yeah, that was one of the things that was on my mind, man. Like something about that whole Diddy altercation. I was like, yo, there's a lot of people out here that are like metaphorical supervillains. So you guys let me know what your thoughts are on that and feel free to comment. But speaking of DC, I know we spoke about it, Reg, but do you want to tell the people that you did not see Black Adam yet?
I didn't see it yet.
Okay, cool. His loss. So I think that was one of the things I said I was excited about when we did the last episode where I said I was excited to see Black Adam. And I'm not going to lie, it was really good. I'm not going to hold you. Shout outs to The Rock. Round of applause for The Rock.
My bad.
You don't apologize. Round of applause for The Rock. Okay, it's okay. Do it again. There we go. Encore. So shout out to The Rock. So I'm not gonna lie, Black Adam was really, really dope. And if you guys didn't see it yet, I don't care. I'm about to spoil it right now. The reason why Black Adam, I think, is really going to be an influential um, point for the DC universe is the fact that I think they did this as a red carpet rollout for a dope Superman movie. So at the end of the movie, like I said, if you did not see it at this point, I really don't care because you guys spoiled Endgame for me the minute it hit the theaters. So later for y'all. So at the end, Superman comes out. And I forgot the can you find out what the actor who plays I think it's Cavill or something like that. If you can find his real name for him, please, Reg. Thank you, man.
In Superman,
Yeah, the one that plays Superman.
his real name,
His real yeah. We know it's Clark Kent, but like the actor who plays Superman.
Henry Cavill.
Okay, yeah. So he looked so good as Superman. So the thing about Black Adam that I appreciated is that I think what they're doing is, as I said to you earlier, Reg, I think what they're doing with Black Adam is to see what can and cannot work for a Superman movie. So, like I said, DC is the better superhero, whatever conglomerate between them and Marvel. Marvel has had the movie on locks, but if anybody really wants to have this debate, I will run circles around it because there's more to these companies than the live action movies. There's comics, there's the animated series, there's television shows, and there's video games. Outside of the last Spider-Man game or the last two Spider-Man games, what was the last great Marvel video game you played? And Marvel vs. Capcom does not count. There isn't any. There isn't any. The entire Batman Arkham series, all classics. You have Injustice 1, Injustice 2, all classics. And that was just in the last 10, 15 years. So I don't even want to even go even further back to see how many bad Marvel video games were. So there's more. That's why I try to tell people, like, yo, it's more than just the live action movies. And I was even having a little debate on Facebook about it, and nobody wants to talk about it because every time we have this, you guys keep bringing up the movies, keep bringing up the movies, keep bringing up the movies. And when I bring it outside the movies, you know what they do, Reg? They keep bringing it back to the movies. So the Black Adam movie, I think, is just a tester to see what they're going to do with the Superman movie. And the things that they did with that movie honestly has me really, really excited. From the visual effects to even doing some great things that's like a blend between like the live action CGI, because the thing is, there was a lot of CGI, but it wasn't a lot of CGI at the same time. Like there were some points in the movie where it looked like the Rock was like legit flying, like no cap. So I'm really excited for what it is that they're about to do with that. And I think once they hit that right Superman movie, it's just gonna snowball into a whole bunch of things. So DC fans, we are on it. Trust me. And Titan season 4 is about to come out soon. So shout outs to that. So Reg, what else do I want to talk about, man? What else we got? What else we got?
Let me check the list.
Yeah, check the list, man. Reg is gonna keep me on track tonight, everybody, because Reg says he got to go home.
I did not say that.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Reg said I got to go home.
A lot of text. Black pen
Yeah.
in the media.
You know what? We could talk about that, but I think there's something else I might want to talk. Hold that thought. I'm trying to think. What else we want to talk? You know what? You know what I'm going to do, Reg? Before we get into that, I honestly, I'm gonna talk about the Kyrie thing since it's a hot take right now. So yeah, Kyrie is the Riddler. Um, hmm. Should I go there, Reg?
Go there.
I don't understand why we love controversy so much. And the reason why I say that is if anybody hasn't noticed, Kyrie Irving has a pattern. Every time there's something that's not going his way professionally, he does something to spark. I'm going to call it fake outrage. I'm really going to call it fake outrage. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. So, for example, when the Nets had a trash record and the NBA initiated the bubble protocol where everybody played at the bubble, he was against it. Okay, let's say there's a valiant effort in that. Let's just say, but are you gonna get me to believe it wasn't because there was that your team having no chance of the finals wasn't a part of that decision? All right, cool. Let's get past the bubble. Now it's the whole vaccine thing, right? All right, cool. Bro, you had James Harden and Kevin Durant sign on to the team with you, and then you say you're not going to play? All right, cool, whatever. Then didn't he take off like 20 games because he was traumatized by what was happening at Capitol Hill? All right. And now this thing with this movie. Now here's my thing. Um I think we're at a point now where what's understood doesn't need to be explained. But bro, why at work? Like you get what I'm saying? You had all of preseason to talk about whatever it is you wanted to talk about. Why at work? And I'm even gonna go a step further. Why isn't he this vocal about the stuff that's actually happening right now? That's why I said he's a Riddler. It's like nothing you're doing is like what is it that you want people to learn or figure out? Because that's my thing. Like, have your beliefs. Don't get me wrong. Have your beliefs. But like we said the last time, you cannot say what it is, whatever it is you want to say, and not expect some consequence. I just want to understand what the point was. And honestly, everybody, let's have an honest conversation about promotion. He posted it on his social media, and he has. Let me see how many followers he has on Instagram. Don't tell me anybody. Don't tell me anybody. Don't do it. Don't do it. Sorry. All right, Kyrie Irving. He has 17.5 million followers. So you mean to tell me what do you think, whatever it is that you post on your social medias, what do you think 17.5 million people are going to do? What's he talking about? Oh, it's a movie? Let me go see it. That's promotion. We got to stop making stuff deeper than what it is, people. That's promotion. Now, let's say he believed whatever it is he wants to believe. Fine. I'm not even mad about what he's saying. But my thing is this. Okay, cool. You know what? I hate to do this. I'm not going to play devil's advocate. Let's just say it was a white person in a black-owned organization, and they said that they were the originators of hip-hop. This is the only thing I could think of, right? Would we be upset? Would we be upset? Okay, yeah, there's freedom of speech, but guess what? If we own these organizations and we own these things, even if it was safe, it's not about it being true or false. If whoever owns these things and signs your checks is offended, what do you think is gonna happen? Can I tell you what my pet peeve is? I think I'm just upset that people are upset about the consequences that we knew was gonna happen. We knew it was going to happen. It is what it is. We don't own these things. So when you say something that upsets people, don't be upset at the consequences. Accept it and move on. See, I would be a lot happier if we weren't upset about the consequences of their actions. I think that's what's pissing me off right now. It's like, oh, how dare they? Bro, if the shoe were on the other, you guys remember the Pastor Paula White story? Imagine the white folks got upset that we never brought that lady back to our church about making an offensive comment. And I mean, not saying that people don't like fried chicken and collard greens, not to say it's not true, but imagine white people getting upset that we didn't bring her back to our church for those offensive comments. If you guys don't remember the story, go to episode 1. But I think that's what's bothering me about all this. Like, why are we upset and surprised that these things have consequences? Now, Can I tell you where I wouldn't be upset at, Reg? If this was preseason or off season, I wouldn't be mad. Why does this guy decide to do all this stuff at work? Because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's a job. And once again, these guys are not martyrs for freedom of speech. And by these guys, that's him and that's Kanye. They are not martyrs for freedom of speech. We gotta stop doing this. These people have self-interest, as they should. And these are the things that they want to talk about for their own personal reasons. And my thing is, Kyrie just does not want to play basketball anymore. And I just wish we'd be real about it. He doesn't want to play basketball anymore. He doesn't. And all I'm saying is that we have to be really honest as a people. Honestly, I don't know what's I know it's considered anti-Semitic, you know what I'm saying? But all I'm gonna say is we are a racially sensitive community. So all I'm saying is, if somebody says something that teeters that blurred line between it could be true or not, it could be true, teeters that line of being racially insensitive, we got to be careful about the people we're going to hold accountable. Because, like I said the last time, if it's wrong for one person, it's wrong for everybody. So all I'm going to say is this. If this is the game that we want to play as a society or as a community, we can't be upset when other people do it to us. That's my thing. We can't be upset when they do it to us. And I don't care if you agree or disagree, but if you disagree, please, let's talk about it. I would love to have a civil conversation about it. But that's my thing. Like we can't be upset, because if the shoe were on the other foot, we would get people out of here. We would get people out of here, which we have done before. I think the dude, I forgot, was the owner of the Suns or something like that? He stepped down for because he got busted for some racially insensitive comments. It happens to other people. You know what? The Clippers, Donald Sterling. It happens to other people too. And I think it was another person, it was a baseball person. Oh my God, no, the owner of the Hawks. He got busted for saying something racially insensitive too. And then, was it the head coach of the Raiders? Yeah, he said he said somebody's lips look like the Michelin Man. When people say offensive things about our kind, to black people, they get punished too. So that's what I'm saying. I need an example of where people got away with stuff. Like whatever that story is of someone getting away with like saying something racially insensitive about other races, I just want to know what that story was, because I see people get waxed every day. Oh man, you remember? This is a throwback. I think we were all in elementary school. Does anybody remember Don Imus? Anybody? Reg, I think we might have to put that clip in there. Let's put that clip in there. Does anybody remember Don Imus?
Last night between a little bit of Rutgers and Tennessee, the women's final.
That Rutgers women's basketball team was on Oprah the next time. I think they were on Oprah right after the game.
Some rough girls from Rutgers, man. They got tattoos. And
when's the last time we heard Don Imus on the radio?
That's a nappy-headed hose there. I'm going to tell you that now.
So that's all I'm saying, people. We got to be really careful, because if we open up this door to what people should be offended by and shouldn't be offended by, we have to be able to take what we could dish out. And you know what, man? I said I never want to talk about it. Let's talk about it, bro. This whole Kanye thing. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Reg, outside, I was talking to my mom about this before I got in. Outside of speaking against injustice and true evil, what is worth saying anything that could lose you that much money? Nothing. And like I said, this is where this whole free thinker community gets on my nerves, because we always try to justify this stuff. Like, not we, I don't consider myself free thinker, but people always try to justify this stuff. Oh, he wanted to get off his Adidas contract. That's genius. Did it? Lawyers exist for a reason. He's a rich man, a very wealthy man. You mean to tell me you couldn't afford some great lawyers to get you out your contract? Or in all contracts, there's always a clause as to what you got to pay to get out. Like, why do we accept buffoonery? Like, why do no, seriously, like, why do we allow buffoonery to be a valid point of protest? There's lawyers exist for a reason. If he really wanted to get out of his contract that bad, you would have took him to court or negotiated. But no, you have an audience, you have a platform, and I promise you, what do you call it? And then so here's the thing. So we justified his comments, right? But this is the same Kanye, and I'm so happy I didn't bring this up the last episode, but I'm talking about this time. This is the same Kanye that was wearing that White Lives Matter BS with his Harley Quinn Candace Owens a month or so back. This is the same Kanye that we believe is this martyr for freedom of speech for our people. Like I'm being for real. Like, this is the same Kanye. So here's what's gonna happen. Cause now he has to get the black vote back. Kanye's Sunday Church, whatever, Volume 2. Stay tuned. Cause that's what he did the last time after the MAGA stuff. Got him a nice black choir, and guess what? We forgot all about it. We forgot all about it. So stay tuned for Kanye's Sunday Service Volume 2. And that's all I'm saying. Like, we have to accept the total picture of people sometimes. This is that same Kanye that we were upset about wearing that White Lives Matter shirt that's talking about this stuff. And then the same people, and we're going to go a little deeper, the same people who made that music he's talking about, I'm pretty sure you collab with a bunch of them, Kanye. So guess what? You are as much as the problem as they are too. But enough of that. Enough of that. So, here's what we're going to talk about today, folks. Before we get into it, I'm going to give a quick story. So during my, the legs got to get crossed when I start getting deep. During my creative hiatus, I took a deep dive into some male-centered content on YouTube. Because, when I was on Instagram and stuff like that, you see the clips, you see the controversy, you see it go viral. So, I said, I'm going to go check it out. So, yeah, I was listening to Kevin Samuels, and I'm not going to lie, RIP, very big fan. I'll get into it later. Very big fan. I don't care what anybody say about it. Very big fan. I listened to a little bit of stuff like Fresh and Fit. Who's some other people like there's this guy O'Shea Duke Jackson, elite attorney, big fan. And something I noticed, Reg and listeners, there's not a lot of space or any space for male-centered content. And like I said, I know a lot of people probably rolling their eyes when I say I'm a big Kevin Samuels fan. And the reason why is like it's not for the relationship stuff, because honestly, that's the stuff I cared the least about. One thing I noticed about when it comes to like male-centered content out here is the stuff that the buffoonery. That's the word of the day, Reg. For this episode, I want buffoonery like as the header for this. That's the word of this episode. It's the buffoonery that goes viral. It's the ratchetness and the stupidity that goes viral. So when I did a deep dive, let's go to Kevin Samuels. When I did a deep dive on his content, when I tell you 85% of the content on his page is not what went viral. Isn't that crazy? And some of the stuff that people said he would say, on average, his streams would be 2.5 to 3.5 hours. So we're going to let a 1-minute soundbite be the narrative that's taken for a 4-hour stream. And the thing is for anybody that wants to talk about his content, I know the number. How many? Reg, I want you to go on YouTube, type Kevin Samuels, and don't say the answer yet. Guess how many videos Kevin Samuels has on his YouTube page? Let me know when you find it, Reg. How many videos, bro? 840 videos. Right? So, like I said, the thing that was going on when I was doing this deep dive into male content was like, I said, you know what? Like, I see why it doesn't have a space, because it's what people allow to be the narrative and the spokespeople for the entire gender and for the entire demographic, I'll say. Right? So, and here's the thing. It's not to say he said any, like, not that he didn't draw. Everybody wiles out, but you want to know something? We have to have an honest conversation that women-dominated media has dominated the media for decades now. Men have never really had a space to really have content that was created just for them. And a lot of the viewpoints and a lot of these things that are shared by, like, let's say like a Kevin Samuels, was stuff that I heard growing up in the barbershop or around, like, you know, older people. Like, so it's like what he was talking about wasn't really anything that was new under the sun. But this isn't the Kevin Samuels defense show. But the reason why I bring that up is we have to have like an honest conversation about like why we pay attention to the buffoonery when there's other sources of content out there that we could consume and give as much attention, right? And then I also want to juxtapose that with some of the outlandish things that other demographics content have said. So, Reg, where would you like me to start first, bro? All right, I like that answer, man. I like that answer. So, before I start talking about other demographics, I do want to do a PSA. If we want other sources of content to take precedence over our feeds, to go viral and stuff, we have to ask the overarching question, why do we support the buffoonery? I think that's the overarching question. Because at the end of the day, we control what gets attention and what doesn't. We control what goes viral. And then we also have to understand, we also live in a social media age where if people see something getting a whole lot of attention, everyone's going to replicate it. That's how come this whole gender war relationship stuff that we see going on a lot of black media spaces. That's why I will not talk about relationships on the show, because there's enough content out there that talks about it. There's enough that talks about, oh, this is what women don't. There's enough out there. But here's the thing. That's the stuff that continues to get perpetuated at astronomical volumes, because that's the stuff that we support. That's where people have to take accountability. If you don't want something to get support, don't support it. Don't comment, don't like, don't share. Don't even engage with the content, because that's what I'm learning about the name of the game. It's all about engagement. You feel me? It's all about engagement. And that's the things that I find so interesting. And this is the reason why I use Kevin Samuels as an example, because when you go through his videos, the stuff that did not go viral, you want to know why some of that stuff didn't go viral? Because there's no buffoonery in it. And then the thing about some of these pages that we continue to talk about, like Fresh and Fit, like, oh my God, if I see someone go viral with them one more time, but here's the thing, they figured out a knack for continuously going viral, and that's to do what? Be vulgar and be disrespectful. So my thing is this, if that's stuff that you do not support, don't engage. It's that simple. But that ties into my overarching comment. My overarching, I'm going to say thesis. I think that sounds fancy. My overarching thesis, right? Why do we allow the negative depictions of male-centered content to be the face of the industry as a whole? I think that's what the question is, because I know a bunch of other male-led, black male-led pieces of content that does not nearly get enough attention. Earn Your Leisure, anybody? Now, granted, they have a following. Shout outs to them. But I don't see stuff going as viral as Fresh and Fit or when Kevin Samuels was alive when he was going in on people. Jason Wilson, like I spoke about last time, that stuff doesn't go as viral as the ratchetness. And then let's not even just leave it to the males. Look at the Kendra G show. Look at the stuff that she does that continuously goes viral. It's the buffoonery, albeit entertaining. You get what I'm saying? So my question is, why is it that when it comes to black male-led content, we let the buffoonery be the face of our side of the industry as a whole, as to now we're talking about, it's my positive use the word. The article, the YouTube video I showed you, abolish all podcast niggas. Like, why do we allow the buffoonery to be the spokespeople? You want to know why? Because that's all we pay attention to. And that sounds like a personal problem. And I don't call them podcast niggas. I call it Red Cup podcast. And here's the thing. There's a whole bunch of other people and other media outlets that said some outlandish-ish that, you want to know what we get hit with? Oh, there's other stuff out there. Just give them a chance. Or, oh, we got them out of there, but no, you didn't. Just give them a slap on the wrist. So there's a few things, and then Reg, I shared this with you, where people said some outlandish stuff, and they not only still have a job, but they still have their platforms, and nobody's saying abolish all insert group from media. So let's talk about Jeannie Mai, everybody. Shout outs to Jeezy. Does anybody remember that comment she made? I think it was about a year ago. Does anybody remember what she said on date? Not YouTube, not Twitter, not Instagram, not Facebook, not even email, on prime time, daytime television. Does anybody remember what she said? And Reg, when you edit this, put the clip in for the people that don't remember.
But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean.
It was something along the lines of, she likes to keep her dark meat on the side. On daytime television. Now, Reg, what would happen to you and I if we said something outlandish like that on daytime television? We would have no job. Now, Jeannie might apologize and whatnot. Yeah, shout outs to you, but did anybody say abolish all women-held talk shows? And I'm going to even go a step further. When you edit this, Reg, put that article up from the Shade Room about how they describe Emi. You know, I'm gonna read the title of the article, and it's gonna go to my point. And the overarching theme of this, everybody, is we all gotta work together to be happy. That's what it is at the end of the day. But I'm just bringing up some stuff that we do not talk about. This is from the Shade Room. Ime Udoka, Brooklyn Nets to hire Nia Long's unfaithful fiance following work mistress suspension in Boston. Yes, that is what the title of the article is. You know what? I'm going to curse a little bit. That is essentially saying, oh, the Nets hired this ain't-ish nigga. Essentially. Did anybody say abolish all abolish all women journalists? No. Because you want to know something? We as men in spaces, we are forced to accept that there's other outlets of information that we could go to where we don't have to rely on stuff like that. And let's talk about it. No, we're really gonna. This is a family discussion, everybody. This is a family discussion that I'm just having with myself. But think about it. Men can all attest to this. For years, we continuously hear we aren't worth anything in our music, on the news, and even in entertainment media. For decades, we constantly hear we're not worth shit for decades. And then what I think that, honestly, what I think the hypocrisy of it all is that we get so upset when the shoe is on the other foot. When we're speaking about when they're not we, because I don't talk about this stuff, when they're speaking specifically about a specific demographic of individuals. But you want to know what I think the problem is, though, Reg and listeners? I think the problem is now that there's other ways for us to be able to get media out there with no filter, I think other people are starting to experience what it was like to be us for so long. And honestly, that's where I kind of get the at a little bit, just a little bit. So I think that's what's really happening here. I think what's happening is other people are now starting to see how men think and how men feel. But here is the caveat, people. Yes, there are jerks out there. Like I said, Fresh and Fit and Red Cup Podcast. Like, yes, they are idiots. But here is what you need to do. You need to bolster the platforms like my own that talk about the stuff that you feel is factual. And also, too, you got to accept that there's just some spaces where men are allowed to just be men. And I think that goes to the next point, Reg, was why is it that whatever is seen as all men is seen as inherently evil? Because I'm not like, every time I tell people I have a podcast, people turn their faces up, which I understand because of what male-led, podcast, pretty much, the stigma between black male podcasters. I understand the stigma, but why is it that you allow that to take precedence over all the other pieces of content that's out there? And I think that's the question. And honestly, let me take this sip real quick because it's about to get deep in here. I think it's acting off of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You want to see what it is you want to see, and I think that's what bothers me about it all. It's just you want the reason why you say that's all that's out there is because that's all you want to see, because you want to reaffirm your belief that all male-led content is just some BS. And I think that's a tragedy because you're missing out on so much stuff that's out there. Or you're not giving stuff a chance. Or even better, you now have to share the space with other people. And I think that's what the crux of it is. So now that we got that out the way, I'm gonna delve into the now, guys. This is for, I call the red pill ragers, and the red pill ragers, we have to understand that these are the individuals that's stigmatizing our media spaces and our representation. So, as I was doing this deep dive, Reg, I learned about the red pill. Now, I mean, I watched The Matrix, so I kind of already had an idea as to what it was. But you know what's crazy? I didn't really know it was like a thing outside of the movie. So the thing I was hearing people, yeah, man, I'm in the red pill. I'm in the red pill. So I always heard it in passing, but I honestly, I never knew it was like a legit community. So if anybody watched The Matrix, you can already tell the red pill is people took the red pill and they woke up from the machine, and pretty much all the red pill that I've seen it or that is publicized to be is pretty much a bunch of men that are angry at women. That's what it's marketed as. So yeah, so I was doing this deep dive on male centered content and the red pill. So the red pill, it's advertised as this whole like men hate women thing, when honestly, from my understanding of it, it's not necessarily men hating women. I think it was just men that had collective negative experiences with women, sharing those experiences, but also at the same time for improvement, because there's a lot of like, hey, you got to get your money up, you got to get your ass in the gym. There's a lot of those talks out there. So, but I'm not going to pretend to be ignorant to the spaces or the brands that are the face of that space, i.e. like Fresh and Fit, where that's all they talk about. But I think this is where I'm going to come in to address something where it is us as men, especially black men, men in general, black men too. Yes, I want to do it as a twofold thing. All men deserve their own spaces, but with black men, we know that there's certain experiences that we go through that only we know that we'll go through. There is a need for us to have some platform and some safe space, or some safe spaces, I should say, for us to be vulnerable about what we're going through. But we have to take the next step beyond yeah, man, that's what happened. All right. My question to you, hence why I created Is What It Is. All right, that happened. Now what? And I think that's the question we really have to ask ourselves is, okay, this happened. This is how I felt. This is my experience. Now what? And what I think this whole red pill thing is, at least from my understanding with it all, is we have not, and I'm going to say we because I as a man, we have not asked ourselves, now what? Now what? And I think what we will come to understand once we ask ourselves that question is this grim, but yet such a liberating truth. And this is for us men. I'm looking at the camera when I say this. No one is coming to save us. No one. And I think that's why a lot of this whole red pill rage thing is going on, is that we're crying out for someone to save us. And honestly, RIP to Kevin Samuels, but I think that's another reason why he got so much traction when he started doing the whole dating thing, is that there's a great group of, granted, like I said, I'm a fan beyond the whole dating thing. I didn't really care about that part, but there are some people that felt saved when he did that type of stuff. No one's coming to save us. And I think the sooner that we could come to that realization, that now here's the thing. That's not to say we don't have to have community. We need community, because I think it's something liberating about a bunch of people that had the same experiences that come together to help each other get over that hump. We still have to get over our own humps as individuals. And I'm not going to lie, if you guys haven't seen this yet, sorry, I'm just moving my AirPods from this candle. So, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to share some personal stuff too. I've been through a lot of the stuff. I've been through a lot of stuff, man, to where I feel like had I found that space sooner, I would be right in those chats, those discords, those YouTube comments with them. So I'm not gonna act holier than thou. None whatsoever. I'm not gonna talk bad about anybody that finds liberation in some of these spaces, because I've went through a lot of the same stuff that a lot of these pages talk about, and I understand. But no matter how much, see, that's the thing. Ooh, I'm gonna go there. We're not women. No one's coming to save us. No matter how much complaining, no matter how much whining, no matter how much crying we do on the internet, no one is gonna save us. And as we already see, we're not even really allowed to have a space out here. Isn't that crazy? Because they run the show when it comes to these things. So that's why we got to get on code. But I'm going to share 3 pieces of media, or 4 pieces, the Bible always comes first, that got me through a lot of the stuff that y'all are complaining about, that helped me get over the next phase. So number 1, the Bible. Now, I'm not the biggest Bible reader, but there's some dope stuff in there where I'm like, you know what? I could use that. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of stuff in the Bible where I'm like, you know, I could use that, and I'm not the most sanctified person. So that's number 1. Number 2, this is actually like a 2A and a 2B. Guys, you have to read Fight Club, and you have to watch the movie. Now, here's why. Now, most people think it's about guys beating each other up and me supporting domestic terrorism. Absolutely not. But the overarching theme of no one's coming to save you is expounded upon in that movie. And I think the highlight of that movie in the book is when we're so desperate for a hero figure, we become vulnerable and gullible to all the stuff that they say and do that we no longer think for ourselves. Hence Project Mayhem. So check that out. That movie and that book is so genius. It shows the need for men to have a safe space of community. Because here's the thing, right? I'm not spoiling the movie's what, 30 years, it's about to be like 30 years old soon, if it's not already. Like, imagine if those guys said, you know what, man, let's start a focus group on how we're going to help each other get better. Let's start a book club, right? But I think that's the caution of it. I think that's the cautionary tale of it. Is like, we don't know how to consume anything. We don't know how to receive anything without rage and pain. Hence, Fight Club. And then as you get deeper and deeper into it, it just goes to show how the narrator becomes so enamored with what Tyler Durden, who's depicted as Brad Pitt in the movie, becomes so enamored with what it is that he's talking about, because that's his hero figure, so much to the point where he doesn't think for himself anymore. That to me is the cautionary tale as to, you got to save yourself, or else whoever you depict as your hero is going to do the thinking for you. 3 would be Collateral. Now, that's a great movie. Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. That movie, to me, highlights you have to take your life in your own hands, or else somebody will do it for you. And whatever it is that you really want to do with your life, the only person holding you back is you. And I'm speaking to myself on that one too. There's a whole lot of stuff that I want to do, and the only reason why it's not getting done is because of me. So go check that out. And number 4, you know what, Reg? I'm so sorry. Actually, listeners, bear with me 1 second. It's actually right on my bookshelf. Hold on 1 second. I'm about to start a book club in this joint. That was 2 books. And guys, I am not a bookworm, so thank you. Let me dust this off. There's this book by this, I think he's German, a German philosopher called Friedrich Nietzsche. And the book is called Thus Spoke Zarathustra. I know I probably butchered that name, but guys, next to Gladiator, oh, that's another one for Gladiator. If you want to learn about manhood, Gladiator, bro. Put that's number 4. So we got 5 pieces of male-centered media or 6. I want to say 6. So Gladiator. But this book right here, it's a super duper dense read, but it really talks about what it takes to be your own hero. And it honestly even delves into why, especially us as men, are enamored with heroes. So pretty much it's about this, I don't know what to call him. I want to call him he's a prophet, and he spent years of solitude in the mountains. And what he does is he comes down to tell the people that God is dead and that no one's coming to save you. And people begin to refer to him as this term called the Ubermensch, which translates to Superman. Shout outs to DC. And pretty much what the Superman is a figure that came from solitude of the trials and tribulations. So pretty much think about it. He came from solitude from the top of the mountains. So what people gravitated towards was, all right, his journey of how he got up there, and then when he descended down to tell people how, like, all the stuff that he learned on his journey up the mountains. And they referred to that as the Ubermensch. And all the Ubermensch really is, at least from my interpretation, is somebody that got through something and they're now telling you how to get through it. Not that I'm going to carry you up the mountain, but hey, listen, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to prepare for to get up the mountain to come back down. That's literally our journey as men, and that's why we have to do our best to uplift those that need to be uplifted, because, these ratchet BS channels like Fresh and Fit and all that stuff, they're the ones that's taking up the space right now because they're the ones that's getting the traction. And this goes out to people that live and die by what people like that say. You have to be your own Superman. You have what it takes to be your own hero. And then guess what? You'll then inspire someone else to be their own hero. So check it out. It's a super dense read, but it's some good shit in here. Some great shit, actually. Next, the autobiography of Malcolm X. If anything, I put that under the Bible as one of the most influential things I've ever read and consumed in my life. That is literally everything you need to learn about manhood is in that book. And the crazy thing about that book, Reg, and listeners, is that you feel like Malcolm X is talking to you. So that's the stuff that I use to get through. So once again, is another thing I kind of want to bring up too about this whole red pill thing, and then we could wrap up on this thing. Does anybody understand that there's more to the Matrix than the blue pill and the red pill? And I think that's what offended me the most about it when I was like, one, I'm a huge Matrix nerd, but if anybody really watched the movies, they knew that the red pill was not necessarily the truth. So I don't want to get too into it, but if anybody knows, with the whole waking up to the truth thing, like, that wasn't the first Matrix. I don't want to bore you guys with it, but I'll tell you what the truth really is. And if we really want to use the Matrix, and this is how I'm gonna categorize myself, I had to use a Matrix analogy. If anybody remember the first Matrix, where Neo went to the Oracle's apartment, and it was the bald monk kid was bending the spoon with whatever, and then the kid was like, trying to bend the spoon is impossible until you realize the truth, and Neo was like, what truth? That there is no spoon. Where's that community? That's what I want to know. Where's that community where it's just like sometimes there is no answer? You get what I'm saying? Sometimes there is no truth. Sometimes you know what? Like, for anybody that's going through a breakup right now, I sat down there talking about relationships. I'll talk about it for 35 seconds. You'll never know why she broke up with you. You'll never know why she didn't give you another chance. You'll never know. And this is for the stuff, what if, like, forget cheating, bro. Cheating is not the worst thing that happened. We'll talk about that later. Cheat respectfully, but we'll talk about that later. You'll never know why, bro. There is no spoon. You may never know why that job fired you. There is no spoon. You may never know why your friends that you thought were your friends aren't your friends no more. There is no spoon. What does that mean? It's up to you to determine your own reality. No one's going to do it for you. No one is coming to save us. Like I said, I had to accept that, like, we can't afford to want to have that fantasy of being saved. That's not a luxury that we have. And it's up to us to create the spaces and the systems that we want in place for us. Women do it all the time. That's why a woman can say men aren't shit all the time and everybody clap. They're on code. We've been hearing that I'm 29, but bro, even my dad was saying he's been hearing men ain't shit in the media for so long, bro. It did not take TLC's no scrubs for men to have to hear that they're not worth nothing. Or the men that women choose that aren't worth nothing, but we'll talk about that later. So think about it. Seriously. And the sooner we accept that, the better off we'll be. And let's support, this is men and women, let's support the positivity. No more buffoonery. Not that buffoonery is not entertaining, but no more. Like, let's stop making that our defining characteristics of our content. That's how come I take it offensively when I see stuff like, abolish all podcasters and black male podcasters. You know how much work I put in? No, for real. But it's up to me and up to, us to make sure things like this goes to where it needs to go. So on that note, speaking of, make sure you like and subscribe us on YouTube at the Playmakers Podcast Network on YouTube. And I'm so sorry I got my Instagram handle wrong the last time. I think it's Jared_S77 on Instagram. Follow me on my podcast also at the_IIWII_podcast. Feel free to follow the Playmakers Podcast Network on Instagram. And honestly, until next time, guys, and remember, it's all love. Like I said, this is going to be a much more raw, more transparent experience. And I just really want us to think critically about some of these things. So I love you guys. Feel free to like, subscribe. Please share. That's the last time I'm going to beg. Oh, and also, you guys see the dope setup. You guys see Reg. This stuff is not free. Please also feel free to support it via Cash App. I promise I'm going to claim this on my taxes. No Wesley Snipes stuff over here. And it's everything that you guys donate is going to go into better production, better quality, and some other surprises that we have cooking up for you guys. So, until next time. That was good. I wanted to hear fantastic, Reg. Is anybody gonna remember me? If I go tonight, I die.